Across the world, millions are asking the same question. Why is life becoming so expensive? But what if rising prices are only the symptom and not the real crisis?
Look at the skyline of Johannesburg, and you see the architecture of global high finance. This is Africa's most developed capital market, moving billions of dollars a day through a sophisticated network of asset managers and institutional investors. For over 2 centuries, markets like this have been built on a single psychological assumption, first popularized by Adam Smith, the concept of the economic man. This is the idea that human beings are isolated actors who constantly make calculated decisions to maximize their own selfish wealth. If humans are perfectly rational, the markets they build should be stable. Instead, history shows a relentless cycle of manias, panics, and crashes, where prices defy logic before completely collapsing. Even the architects of the system find themselves baffled by these events. Former Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan famously worried about the irrational exuberance of traders, admitting that sudden outbursts of mass hysteria frequently override economic logic. When an entire global economy is engineered on the assumption that greed and isolation are our default settings, periodic financial crashes are only the beginning. It creates a system that extracts value without limits, pushing our planetary life support systems to the brink of collapse. To understand why the system misfires, economist Bernard Lietaer mapped human knowledge into 4 simple quadrants, splitting our reality into individual versus collective and interior meaning versus exterior behavior. Almost our entire economic literature, 95% of it, lives in the upper right corner, the exterior individual. This is the domain of spreadsheets, tracking how a single person or company earns, spends, and measures material wealth. What we consistently ignore is the lower left, the interior collective. This quadrant holds our shared psychology, our cultural beliefs, and our definitions of meaning. When we ignore these collective emotions, they surface unexpectedly as market panics and irrational booms. We try to fix these systemic issues with exterior tools. Western financial institutions often export environmental, social, and governance regulations to emerging markets as sterile tick-box compliance metrics. Because they are imposed from the outside, they often fail to take root in the local culture. Mathematical regulations and strict compliance laws can only do so much. Until we address the interior, collective psychology of how a culture actually defines wealth, our attempts to create a sustainable global economy will fall short. Some of the largest asset managers in South Africa are beginning to recognize this gap. Instead of relying solely on imported Western metrics, they are grounding their investment strategies in ancient indigenous philosophy. They turn to Ubuntu. Often translated as "I am because we are," Ubuntu is an understanding that an individual's success and identity are inextricably bound to the well-being of the wider community. It treats interconnectedness as a literal economic reality. This table outlines theoretical interpretations of Ubuntu against rational ethical frameworks. Looking at the 6th row, we see an act is right if it produces harmony. Profit is not an isolated achievement. It is a natural byproduct of historical interdependency and overall stakeholder health. By placing community health at the center of the equation, this framework replaces the extractive economic man with the sustainable relational human. This relational definition of wealth echoes across other traditions globally. In 1973, economist E.F. Schumacher outlined Buddhist economics, arguing that a society's goal should be maximum human well-being with minimum material consumption. This word cloud represents survey data from the Rocky Boy Indian Reservation, asking residents to define wealth. The primary metric of a rich life is family, closely followed by community and health, reducing money to a secondary support tool. Compare these holistic views with standard Western ESG practices, which heavily rely on negative screening. Investors simply sell off shares in harmful industries, so their portfolios look clean and compliant on paper, leaving the underlying societal problems untouched. Ubuntu, however, demands active engagement. If a subsidiary business is struggling or causing harm, an investor operating under Ubuntu does not simply abandon it to keep their own hands clean. They step in, working directly with operators to fix the issues, protect local jobs, and sustain the economic ecosystem. True sustainability requires moving past the illusion of separation. Institutional investors must stop treating assets as disposable line items on a spreadsheet and start managing them as vital organs within a shared, living body. When we pull back from the trading floors and financial districts, the mechanics of our global economy take on a very different context. If an advanced cosmic intelligence were to observe Earth, they wouldn't see competing nations or isolated markets. They would see a single, interdependent biological organism, breathing and evolving in real time. From this vantage point, our arbitrary borders, individual bank accounts, and theories of isolated rational actors are entirely invisible. They are fictions we invented to divide a whole system into measurable pieces. Ubuntu operationalizes this biological truth. It creates an economic framework for a unified life, ensuring that every financial decision acknowledges that no part of the system can truly prosper while the rest of the body fails. The survival of the global economy in the 21st century depends on this shift. We can no longer afford the fiction of the isolated actor. We must move toward a financial reality that recognizes our single shared fate.